What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Coaching the Culture podcast.
Moving upward, can't be boasting about these vultures. Get negativity ocean. We just coaching up the culture. This for my sisters and brothers, stepdaddies and single mothers. Every topic we gon' cover, we just coaching up the culture. Coaching the culture, 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 coaching the culture.
Yeah, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Coaching the Culture podcast. This is where sports, family, and faith collide. We endeavor to help parents, players, teachers to build strong relationships, to also build a winning culture in whatever space that they're in. Today, I'm excited. I got two of my main guys, man, that I've been rocking with for a long time in the coaching space. Two gurus, I call them, man. It's a lot of experience in this room right now. We got a lot of stake in the game. In this here city of Charlotte, North Carolina, these two guys have put in a lot of work. Coach Walker and Coach Sim Frazier, honored. Thank you guys for coming.
Appreciate you having us.
Thank you.
Definitely love for you guys to start off and kind of give people your resume, your background, let them know what your credentials you have. Coach Walker, I'll start with you.
First of all, when you invited me, Coach, there's no hesitation. There's no hesitation.
I got the message. Absolutely. I said, man, my God, my God.
It's kind of funny how I started this. I started head coaching in 2007. I was an insurance agent first, and I was asked from Nationwide Insurance to come to Waddell to talk about financial literacy, and I did that. The head coach at the time, Dan Nunn, was a high school teammate, and from there it just worked. I had no intentions of coaching basketball.
Wow.
And since 2007, I've been in a lot of different places. Waddell was my first stop, gave me my first opportunity. Then from there, we went to Kennedy Charter. After Kennedy Charter, we went to Rocky River. Rocky River, we went to Garinger. And then I think I may have missed a school in between there, but no regrets. Yep. The only regret, probably, I could say that if I wasn't coaching, I'd probably be married by now because of the time it takes.
Man.
So yeah, no regrets.
Coach, I ain't know that. I didn't know that Waddell was your first school.
First stop.
When I came on, so I helped you your second year or your third year?
My second year.
Your second year. Yep. Wow, I did not know that, Coach.
Yep. First stop.
Coach, you feel. It seemed real seasoned to me when I came along, man.
Young and dumb, Coach.
Wow.
Young and dumb, yelling, screaming, shouting.
You had to yell at some of those guys. Some of those dudes you had to yell at.
You're right about that.
But not like your JV coach you had that time, though. Yeah, think about the JV coach at the time at Waddell. You wasn't yelling like him.
Oh, no. Right.
So you got some other businesses on the side as well?
Yes. So Kristen Mitchell and I, we have a nonprofit called MW9IT, probably most known for the Charlotte Hoops Challenge, which is a nationally known Thanksgiving event that we do every year.
Now, we're going to get into that for sure, but right now, I got to take the time. Like, the reason why I rock with these guys is because we're like-minded. You'll never really hear them boast about themselves. You'll never hear me boast about myself. So I love the opportunity to boast for them, you know. And he ain't just going to say, yeah, you know, Charlotte Hoops Challenge, and just brush over it like it's just, no. Coach Walker introduced me to that next level of talent, that top tier level of talent when it comes to high school basketball. I think I remember the first big name was it Shaquille Johnson? Mm-hmm. Buddy literally jumped over somebody's head on the baseline. I remember that. And I think that next year it might have been Andrew Wiggins.
Yep.
Andrew Wiggins, and I'm coaching with him at this time. And everybody talking about Andrew Wiggins this, Andrew Wiggins that. And don't get me wrong, Andrew Wiggins was Andrew Wiggins. But there was another kid on that team that lit us for 30. Xavier Rayfin Mays.
Yes.
Coach,
you going back, Coach.
Could shoot that rock.
And he was a little chubby kid,
Yeah.
He shot us out the gym. And I was like, yo, that's what my eyes was just opening, like, you know, just being on that level. I remember Huntington Prep, and they had 3-4 kids coming off the bench that was high major. High major. It was like, yo, we didn't have a chance. But we ain't tell them kids that. Go out there and fight, baby. Go out there and do the compete.
Right.
Yeah, but now, so I mean, You can shout some other names. I remember Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray. He was at I think Athletes Institute in Canada.
Yep.
Actually, we were at Kennedy Charter.
Yeah, we
when
was Kennedy Charter
against
then, yep.
Jamal Murray. On Joel Embiid was
He gave
there.
us 50, by the way.
Yes.
Jamal Murray gave us a slight 50.
Yeah. We've been fortunate.
Yeah,
We had some dudes come through. Michael Jordan came by to see some games. So we've been very fortunate and blessed.
Yeah, and this is you just finished what, the 13th or the 14th year?
This will be our 16th year.
16th year.
Yeah.
So man, that just tells my age. So yeah, up and running. And you got it coming up again this year, right?
Absolutely.
So Coach Sim, give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah, man. Sim Frazier, been in the space 18 years coaching. I've coached both travel and at the high school level. So was on the private school side, Covenant Day, Charlotte Country Day, Gaston Day, and then coaching the travel space. Started with the Charlotte Royals. Most recently ran Team Curry, Steph's AAU organization, and then now recently started Top Shot Basketball, new organization here in honor of my dad. So, but yeah, been doing it for that long. Have 160 college players come through, 40 Division I guys in the past 5 years. So I always tell parents, I can't tell you how many games we won last year. I can tell you how many dudes we put in school. So that's the prime objective. So.
Listen, if you don't know, now you know. Coach Sim Frazier is one of those. I seen him personally. We coached at Upward Stars. Did you mention Upward Stars?
Yeah. I didn't mention them, but we had to stop at Upward. Yeah.
We coached at Upward. I think we was Reebok then.
Yep.
On the Reebok circuit.
We were.
And I seen him with my own eyes all summer long. I seen him sign like 10 guys. Like we had an unsigned senior team, and every week the roster would change because once they signed, they couldn't play.
Yeah.
Nah, Coach Sim Frazier is that guy. I seen him with my own eyes sign 10 guys in the summer and just keep it rolling, bring in another kid. They get signed. Now we got another kid. They get signed. And so I commend him for his work because that's honestly a part of the game that I never mastered. I just feel like, if you're good enough, they're going to come see you. And then, of course, I can give the stamp of approval and I can help, if the coach asks me a question. But, to be able to sell somebody is a gift. Like, that's a talent to be able to sell somebody with somebody not even, really seeing them and then trusting your words. So that also is a big testament to the relationships that you built. And I understand your brother, had a really good career.
Yeah. Chad actually played at West Mac. Played, remember them Waddell West Mac games. But yeah, Chad went to played at UAB. Then was professional for 9 years and all over the world, really. Turkey, Greece, Lithuania, Canada. And so now he's getting into the coaching space. So at the college level. So, but yeah, now it's a family thing. My middle brother Nate, people might know him from Charlotte Pro-Am. He's usually the dude emceeing, yelling and carrying on. So yeah, basketball is definitely a family thing for us.
Word.
Yeah.
Chad Frazier was that guy.
Chad Frazier. And so
smooth.
Actually, talk a little bit about Top Shot. You said that was in honor of your dad.
Yeah. So my dad, we're from Boston originally, and my dad founded a basketball camp in the inner city of Boston, area called Mission Hill, and founded a basketball camp in the late '80s. And it carried through the 90s or whatever, but my dad passed about 3 years ago, and I had always thought about doing something with the name, and then when the end of Team Curry came, it was kind of perfect segue to start this and carry on his legacy and continue to do the work. So my dad was a pastor, a minister, and this is kind of like my ministry, right? So sure. I'm not in the pulpit, I'm on the court. Cussing and fussing a little bit, but yeah, so that's kind of my way to give back and connect. So,
hey, speaking of cussing, well, first of all, before I even get into that, give honor and respect to the Lord Jesus Christ. But I always say that the gym was my second sanctuary.
Yeah,
it's definitely my ministry. What we do for these kids, and that's like I said, we all like-minded, man. I seen him give the shirt off his back. I seen you give the shirt off your back. So like what we give the kids, it don't come in monetary value, man. In order to coach this game, Like, you got to really be passionate about it. You got to really love it, because it ain't, it can't be for the money.
Right.
Not if you want to be good. Like, the time that you spend in it, it kind of, you end up paying the coach.
Right.
When you calculate the hours.
Yeah.
But when you go to, you said, cussing and fussing a little bit, there's 2 quotes from both of you guys that I still laugh at this day. And I tell the kids this today, of course, I bleep the curse word out, but I say, Coach Walker had a saying, F a play if you can score. Like, who cares about running the play? F the play if you can score. Just go score.
Right.
And then when I was coaching with you, you'd be like, if you don't know what else to do, set an effing ball screen. just go set an effing ball screen. Well, that used to be so funny. I'm telling you, my time coaching, I don't know about y'all, if y'all feel the same way, but my time coaching was the best as an assistant. Like, I love being an assistant because I can sit back, I'm learning. It's really not a lot of pressure on me.
Right.
But also, too, I'm laughing at the head coach because the antics and this guy right here is hilarious. and then I found myself, when I became a head coach, same thing. They laugh at me, and I'm, I'm doing all that stuff. But so I got 25 years in the game. I just recently retired from coaching this past year, coming off 2 state championships. Of course, I'm redirecting my focus on coaching coaches and coaching parents and things like that. But in my journey of 25 years, these 2 guys were very instrumental in my development as a coach, helping me to get to the level that I'm at. Coach Walker was the first. I started off at East Gaston High School, low-level talent. When I got to Waddell right after that, we had 3 Division I players on our team. We played against, like you said, he had the Charlotte Hoops Challenge going on, so seeing some of the top players in the nation. Then he introduced me to Team United, which he didn't mention. He's been with Team United for a long time, too. It's been a long, how many years has been?
Oh, Coach.
Yeah.
That's a funny story how that started. So I straight out of college, I have a cousin, a little cousin that stays here still, and his coach was absent one day in practice, and the kids was just doing whatever.
Yeah.
So I stepped in and started coaching them, and then the kids loved me. That was the connection that Tim talked about. Was natural, was authentic, and the rest is history. Jacoby Davis at West Charlotte, the co-director at Team United, saw my guys play and asked me to come be a part of the Charlotte Stars back in the day. And the rest is history. We changed names several times since then, but
So let me ask you this, Coach, because earlier when we was talking, you had mentioned that you was coming from the insurance space, selling insurance, and then you did a presentation at a school, and then you ended up becoming a coach. Like, what made you say I want to coach?
I didn't coach. It chose me. Yeah. I know that's a cliche that a lot of people say, but it really chose me.
Yeah.
I was minding my business, making good money.
Yeah.
And I think what really sold it was the head coach at the time was my high school coach.
Okay.
And he asked me to come help. And then after that, he didn't come back the following year, and the kids didn't have a coach, very similar to how AAU started. So I stepped in and couldn't say no after that.
Yeah. I know for me, I started in college, but once I first seen the light bulb click for a kid, I was sold.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, this is. It was so fulfilling, and then it was like right along. I went to school for sport management. So my freshman year, we had to do community service and ended up coaching a church league team for community service and kind of fell in love with it. And didn't know, even in college, didn't know that was what I was going to be doing, because I was, thinking sports agent, make some money, graduated and started my first AAU team after graduation. Had some kids, Shamel Akins, was one of my guys. He tore Charlotte up as a little guard. But I remember, man, I had about 4 or 5 kids from Boulevard Homes, and I had never seen their parents, never met them before at all. The whole summer long, we traveling. They coming to they started catching a bus to my practice. Then I eventually was picking them up and taking them back home. But never met the parents at all. Never met them the whole summer long. I remember one time, we came back from a trip, and the parent had moved, and kid ain't know where the parent was. So, that also too kind of birthed the desire to, to help kids, whatever. And so, like I said, getting back to Coach Walker, getting to that level of competition. By the time I got to Sim and was helping him with Upper Stars, I was already used to that level of competition. But he showed me a different side of it as far as, being able to get kids into college and stuff like that. So now let's kind of pivot a little bit and talk about the culture. What's today's culture look like? How do you see basketball right now? How do you see sports right now? Is it going in the right direction? Do you like what's happening? How is it compared to the era where we came up?
I like it. I think for the most part, I think it's different, but it's a marketing. I think it's definitely all about branding. As we talked earlier, your brand is bigger than your name.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids don't understand when I tell them that. But if your perception of what people perceive is who you are and what you are, and that's what it's boiled down to now. So I definitely like the way it's going. I think there should be some regulations. I think there will be soon with the collectives and NIL and all that stuff. But I can't wait for that. But I think the kids are deserving to get paid for some of their talent.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, Coach, when you say that, and as I hear you talk, I know that you're talking about a certain level kid. I think the problem is that's only top 5% maybe, right? And so you have 95% or whatever that percentage is. You got them faking the perception on Instagram. So you got kids posting offers that ain't true. You got kids posting highlights that look good, but the whole scheme of the game don't look good. You know what I mean? Shout out to Phenom Hoops and any other type of report programs like that do write-ups, but the write-ups have gone crazy. I've seen some, and they do a good job writing up, because I've seen some write-ups on some of my own kids that play for me. I'm like, man. What game was this that they watched?
Man. Yeah.
But the problem is, we as coaches have to deal with that on the back end, because we have to deal with the reality of it, right? And it's not to kill a kid's dream. I understand what Phenom Hoops is doing. They're running a business, right? I understand what programs like that are doing. They I get it. However, some of those write-ups, man, should get you a scholarship the way they look. It's like, man, you like that, and then it's like, how much can you really write up off seeing one AAU game? But you have a good game, you get a write-up. And it feeds into the misconception. And parents buy into it, kids buy into it, and then when they get to their senior year and they wonder, like, well, they don't even look to see, I got this write-up, but I'm not ranked.
Right.
Make it make sense.
Yeah. Where that originates from is, you would go to tournaments, and if you didn't have that dude, the top level guy, you probably didn't get any ink, right? So you play in these tournaments, there's 400 teams, and you trying to scratch and claw to win and do your thing, and you don't get any ink. So then it became tournaments offered, hey, you come here, we're gonna give you guys ink. All right, cool. So at least I'm gonna get some write-ups. Well, then that becomes, you can't just give one or two guys ink on the team. Everybody got to get ink, and then that creates this environment where, okay, if I play in this tournament, all my kids are going to get these write-ups. But then it's a trickle down, because now parents are holding on to, hey, I got a tweet, I got a write-up, and now this is real to them. It really doesn't mean, like, you can have a book full of those write-ups, and it doesn't equal that you're going to school for free or whatever else. It doesn't mean that you can really play. Right. So that's kind of the slippery slope. Obviously, I get, like, trying to help guys amplify their name and do some different stuff, but it needs to be, you got to be real about this thing. Yes. You know what I mean? And so college coaches get that and see it too. So they're like, well, I see the tweet, I see the name, And that's how I use it to recruit players. I'm looking at names. I'm not really looking at all the other stuff that they talk about. I don't really care. If there's a name, I'm going to look into it myself and go see him if I have the time, all that kind of stuff. But it definitely gives a false sense of reality to folks.
And, go ahead, Coach.
I do think it's a slippery slope. Going back to what Sim was saying, it's tough. I don't have any kids, but I would imagine if I had a son that I would want, if my son says, okay, this is what I want to do, I'm going to do all I can to make sure he accomplishes that or put him in a position to accomplish that. But going back, I mean, how do we keep the reality with the opportunity and all in focus and in alignment is where we got to get back to.
It's tough. I had this conversation with somebody earlier, or a couple of days ago, which is starting at 4th and 5th grade. Because in 4th and 5th grade, people are playing in made hoops or whatever. They're traveling all around the country, right? So at 4th and 5th grade, they're playing on elite level basketball. And they're playing at 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, right? And they believe that since I played on this elite level, he's got to be that. Yeah. We had kids at Queens now, right? The whole team, on that team, we had all 10 guys went Division I on that roster. His parents would not accept that he was a Queens level player at the Division I level. Well, we played against so-and-so that's in the Big East, or this kid's going to Georgia, and he's always been with these guys. Why is he only getting recruited for Queens? Then it becomes Sim's doing something wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's holding my kid back. He's not calling somebody for him. No, the reality of it is he can't shoot a jump shot, and I can get Queens to take a flyer on him and be like, hey, you might need to develop him, but he's the best defender I've ever had.
Right.
You know what I mean? But because he's played at this level, he had to be that. He had to be that. Yeah. And that's just tough. That's just a tough thing that we're seeing because they're starting so young.
Yeah. And so the backlash of it though, because social media is so crazy. I mean, and these kids really put their reality in social media, and most of it's fake. But the backlash of it is, you talk about mental health, right? When a kid gets there and they don't, like you say, you start from 4th, 5th grade and you get all the way up to your 12th grade year and you don't get what you thought this whole time and nobody told you the reality of it, and they kept feeding into this perception, man, some kids ready to jump off the cliff. And it's like, they can't, I had a kid and he transferred from a public school in Gaston County, and he had never played against the competition that we play, at our school. I mean, I learned from Coach Walker, man. It doesn't matter who you got. Like, we're gonna play smoke.
We ain't ducking no smoke.
We ain't ducking no smoke. We took some L's. Like, don't get me wrong. But like my thing, the reason why I do that is because I want you to see. Yeah. You say you want to play Division I. You want to play. Okay. Well, we need to play against the best, and don't measure your success up against subpar competition. Measure it up against the best. But he had never played against, and he was a senior. And so my thing, I kept telling him, like towards the end of the season, man, I wish I had you, for more than 1 year. I got him for 1 year, because you need that time to develop as a point guard. And he could handle the ball, he could score, but he couldn't run the offense. Couldn't get in that paint, make things happen. I'm like, and if you're not 6'5", if you're 6 foot or under, you gotta know when you gotta be able to defend 94 feet, and you gotta be able to get in that paint, get muddy, and make some things happen.
You gotta be a dog.
And so my criticism ain't popular. So now you get the slack from parent or whatever the case may be, but it's like I'm not lowering my standard. I know I watched enough basketball to know what's successful on that next level. And the thing about it is, like I'm telling you, it ain't that I'm telling you can't do it. I'm just telling you ain't gonna be able to do it right now. Go take a prep year, learn this game, learn how to run that point. Then go JUCO. You might just have to go the long way around. But now there's such a pressure on these kids to get the offer right out of high school. And it's like, are y'all even looking at the transfer portal? Like right now, we know the transfer portal go crazy. But I'm like, if you look at what's going on in the scope of things right now, if you go to college right now as a freshman, straight out of high school, you're going to be competing against 23, 24, 25 years old that's been developed, that's been in the weight room. If you ain't been there, you're going to get gobbled up. So why not take these extra years and now you can go JUCO with no penalty? Why not? And then go into college as a freshman at 21, at 20, you know what I mean? And give yourself a better opportunity. Once again, if you not like that, if you like that, you're going to get what you know what I mean? But it's hard to get them to understand trusting the process, taking your time.
Coach, I got to stamp what you just said. Just yesterday, I mean, like less than 24 hours ago, had a kid we coached, and he 24 years old, graduated with the undergrad and a master's. Free.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's time to go to work now. Let's find out whether it's entrepreneurship or whatever it is you're trying to do. Let's go, right? So now, guess what? He said, Coach, they may grant me another year of eligibility. So what you mean? We going to work.
Right.
Nah, Coach, I think I'm going to go back. He will be 25.
Very real.
What we doing?
25.
25, and then your little 17-year-old son is about to do what with him in practice? Nothing. Not anything. Now, the tough thing with new opportunities, right? We have so much opportunity out there for us because of the fact that people don't, if they don't like what you're saying to them,
Yeah.
there's somebody else that's going to give them that.
Yes.
Or you talk about the mental health thing. We had a kid, he came to us, he had all these offers. LSU, Mississippi State, this and that. And I didn't hear from none of those schools. I'm like, what's going on? We start going through the season. I'm not hearing from those schools. I'm not really hearing from anybody. So I start calling people like, yo, what's going on? Like, you guys want to recruit this kid? Well, we thought he was higher level. He had all these offers. Come to find out, his previous program was doing the favor offer thing was what I call it, right? So to help amplify that program, to help keep the kid, hey, call Mel and tell him you got an offer. Or they would just say, hey, put out that you got an offer in Wake Forest. And then the kid puts it out. He thinks he has an offer. He really doesn't. And then at the end of the summer, come to find out, the kid had to go JUCO because he didn't have any kind of recruitment. He wasn't at that level like they tried to project he was. And then the lower level stuff had already
Backed up.
They filled up their spots. And that kid was crushed. Like, to have that conversation with his mom and stuff like that, and it was just like, man, this is tough, you know. So this is, you know, a lot of people are building up, and everybody, you know, especially in our communities, right, is the NBA and the highest level. And the reality of it is, majority of these people have not seen what that level is, don't even know what the difference is. I had a parent tell me, hey, do you know the coaches at Wake Forest? Yeah, I do. Well, can you call them? No, because your son is good enough to be at High Point. Just because they're close to each other doesn't mean they're the same thing, right? Like, but you have to, most people don't see a practice, don't understand levels, all that kind of stuff. It's tough.
To your point, man, do y'all find it hard to have conversations with people who are not on your level? And I say this respectfully, and I say it with my chest. I know what level I'm on as a coach because I know where I done been. I know what talent I done seen. I know what level I done been on. But the one thing that I hate about coaching basketball or being a basketball coach is that it's one of the only professions where people can critique and put their opinions on it. Like, I can't just go to the bank and tell somebody they ain't counting the money wrong. I just can't go to McDonald's and say, hey man, you ain't flipping them burgers right, you know. But they can come to the gym, watch a game, see 10 minutes of a game, and basically critique everything I done did in practice, and you ain't been one practice.
Yeah, I tell people, politics and sports are the two things that people can have no experience in and be an expert.
Oh my God, that's it.
You know what I mean? So like, you haven't been to a practice, you don't know how to defend a ball screen 3 different ways, but you about to tell me that we need to be doing this with your son? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so many. Yeah, I'm very much, I've been called, you know, the A word a fair amount of times because I don't have those conversations with people, especially parents that don't understand what it is, right? Now, I'm an open book. Any coach or people want to have knowledge shares, whatever. Like I talk to program directors and coaches from all over the country, just like picking my brain on how we got where we were and what they should be doing. Cool, let's have those conversations, but don't pull me aside and be like, yeah, my son needs this and that. Like, based on what experience? If you can tell me how many dudes you put in school, if it matches where we at, then yeah, well, I'll listen. But if not, I don't want to hear it.
I don't think we'll ever be aligned. When I say we, I'm talking about coaches and parents, because the motives are different.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think we have to just keep it real, like we always do, because it ain't gonna happen. I remember one instance in particular. We had a kid. He's in the league now, coached, and dad came to me and says, "Now we had 3 Division I's. This is we're at Rocky River, and had it rolling." And dad says, "My son needs more shots." I said, "It ain't no more shots. This is it. This is it. It ain't no more shots. Where they coming from?" Right. Yeah. And we were good.
Right.
And he said, "Why should my son stay here?" I said, "I can help him become a better man." You know what I mean? So we lose that part of it when we talk about the culture. It's bigger than basketball. I know that's a cliche too, but for me, it's about making sure these kids be productive citizens. And I think we lose that. If we can agree, if parents and coaches can agree that help my son be a better citizen, then we can have some alignment.
Yeah.
But when it's just basketball, we'll never be aligned.
Yeah.
I think so. Every year, when we do the parent meeting every year, I always tell parents, look, I'm not opposed to having a parent meeting, but most of the time I'm probably not going to take it, because we're not going to see eye to eye, because you are looking at your child, where I have to look at the team.
There you go.
And it's a different, I have your kid's best interest at heart, but he's not the only kid that I'm coaching.
Right.
But to my point earlier, what I'm saying, like, I even find it hard to talk to other coaches. Because if you haven't been on respectfully, if you ain't been on the level I've been on, if you ain't seen what I've seen, you might not understand what I'm saying. And so when it comes to coaching, like, there's certain things, when it comes to coaching, as far as flow of the game, or, like, I've just seen certain things that I'm not studying anymore that I know for a certain that's not going to work. That might work. Or just the difference of opinion, with coaches. And I'm always willing to help, but, us as men, we got egos, right? So if you really headstrong about something, I'll back off. But I know, I know for a fact what I'm talking about, because I went through it, and it's just not coming, something I'm speculating. This is just off of you. So you got a lot of coaches. Let's just be honest, there's not a lot of good coaches, right? There's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of parent coaches, but then there's a lot of coaches but I give everybody grace, as far as like where you at right now, like, okay, well, he got to learn. He got to learn the same way I learned. Yeah. You got to have his time in the game the same way I had the time in the game. But there are some who, because like we talked earlier, coaching is not just about X's and O's and running practice. You got to learn how to manage personalities. You got to manage the team. You got to manage. It's stuff off the court that you got to do in order to have, a successful program. So the time that we invest is like my man Frank Martin said, how can you, these guys are not getting paid to coach. Like, what right do you have to come and be like, he should do this or he should be doing that, when you're not spending the time, and they're taking time out of their day to work with your kid. I pride myself on, I was a coach before I had my son. I tried to coach my son maybe 1 or 2 years, and it was over. Like, I was like, nah. I was okay with him going to somewhere else. Like, I wasn't one of them. I got to coach my son. Nah, I was a coach before. Let somebody else coach him.
Yep.
Because I got so angry, like, with him, and I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, nah, I'll let somebody else coach.
My son's 10, and I don't coach him. I don't train him. I coach him in other sports like football, right? Like, we can both learn that together. I didn't play football, but I want to be involved and want to help. But speaking on that, like, I coached my brother Chad when he was younger, and I never forget, we were playing in the AU pool play in Mount Airy, and we're up there, and I'm telling him he needs to shoot more. I was like, "You're the best shooter. We got to get you going. We got to get you going." And he fanned me off. Man, whatever. And I grabbed him by his throat. Right? My assistant had to grab me off, because at that point it became
personal.
I'm 22.
Right.
He's 16.
Right.
Hey man, what we doing?
Yeah.
Right. I got in the car, drove home. My mom called me. Don't you ever? Right? But that was a lot. Like I remember coaches would call me like, "You coach your brother? I know you coach." I'm like, And so for me, yeah, kind of the same thing. Like my son, I want him to hear different voices. If we ended up getting to that point, cool. But
because then it's kind of hard for kids to differentiate between daddy
Father
and coach.
Yeah. Because I mean, my dad coached me in rec league back in the day, and I remember I feel like all those losses was my fault. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We lose Saturday morning. I'm in the car. I'm like, man, we lost because of me. You know. So
now I know a few guys that do it and successful at it.
Yeah.
Big shout out to my dog Ed Cook. I mean, I'm definitely gonna have him on the podcast.
Yeah.
I know he was a coach before his kids, but
Tamar Slade did a great job at Carmel.
Yep. So I know some guys that do it, man, and shout out to them, man, because that takes a lot. I remember Ed's talking about how he differentiated. Like, look, when we get in the car, it's this. When we get on the court, it's this. So shout out to them.
But he doesn't talk basketball. Less is on the court. Less is on the court. There's no basketball.
So look. Another thing, we're talking about sports culture. It's huge in basketball for sure. Training, individual trainer or trainers, right?
Coaching and coach, 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 coaching and coach.
Because what I tell people all the time is that when you transfer, you basically starting over. And how good is your kid? Like, do they pick up on things real quick, or if they learning curve? So a lot of times you transfer kids to their senior year, you killing them because they don't know how to adapt or adjust quick enough to be successful their senior year. So even if you think if the coach, if all he does is ball screen all day long, and you did 4 years worth of ball screen, we could find a program that all they do is ball screen, and you can be a master in that ball screen. But when you don't, it's like having a balanced diet. When you don't, and you eating off different plates, you become a jack of all trades and a master of none. And we all know that on the next level, Division I, they're looking for specialists. They're looking for, can you shoot the ball? Can you shoot the leather off that thing? Can you defend 94 feet?
Coaching and coach, 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 coaching and coach.